welcome to the alternate future of the world. The world in which it is 2024 currently. This is the modern map of Earth. And, you know it, you love it. I don't have to sugarcoat it. Let's just get in. So the biggest war, arguably, in modern times is the Russo-Ukrainian War. And I don't think we will be having a conclusion in this war just in this one episode. Currently, the war is basically just a stalemate. It has been for a while. Neither side has really pushed across or really done anything. Russia is trying to integrate these lands. I don't really know how well it's working, but yeah. There's also another major war down here, which I'm just gonna we can deal with you later. So the main event for this episode will be the 2024 election. Now, leaked data polling has shown that Trump has a big majority in the elections. Like, it's not even close. So Trump wins the elections. Now the election itself in the coming months is pretty violent. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of scandals and just a lot of chaos. And so much in fact that some parts of the country start to rise up. These regions include parts of the Californian coast, and here on as well as here on the East Coast. So the two major places for the Democrat Party, and we start to see a lot of riots and basically like almost a civil war. Although the majority of the military does support the federal government, and after I'd say a couple of weeks, the federal government does indeed crush these riots, and the chaos in America is sort of swelled, except that the U.S. is still going through tough times. The economy, it's only worsening. And the U.S., the Republican Party, starts to favor more isolationism. So this results in a cutting of aid to Ukraine, and basically Ukraine realizes it's going to lose. So yeah, I take back that statement. This war is going to end, just for simplicity. And pretty much the Western world kind of just tells Ukraine, look, you got to sign a peace, otherwise we're just not willing to aid you anymore. And Ukraine basically just says, no, we're just going to keep fighting. We're going to use the aid that we get from Europe, and we're just going to keep fighting Russia. Now, Russia isn't going to just march on Kiev right away because America is pulling out aid, but it is going to wear down on the Ukrainians over some time, and it might allow Russia to. Now, over here in Palestine, Israel just kind of occupies Gaza, and Israel forms And Israel wins the war. West Bank is still independent, but Gaza is for now occupied. They promise to leave, but they doesn't look like they're going to leave anytime soon. And there's still a lot of guerrilla warfare in this region. It's too small to draw on a map, so yeah. The second major event of this scenario is Ethiopia finishing their dam along the Nile River. Now, here, one modern conflict is that Ethiopia is damming up the Nile River. Egypt needs the Nile for obvious reasons. And this could lead to a war. So, Egyptian air pilots try to move down and strike at the Ethiopian dam. Our Ethiopian air defenses do hold for at least a little while, and it results in a full-scale war between Ethiopia and Egypt. Sudan joins on the side of Ethiopia after Ethiopia pretty much just bribes them with electricity, and also because Sudan and Egypt have a border dispute here. There is some small fighting in, well, not that. There's some small fighting in this region here. Egypt does push down here like this. Egypt is stronger than Sudan, and they do have a decent military, but I mean, they just don't have the capabilities to win such a long-range war. So they keep trying to strike the dam, but at this point, this region is filled with air defenses and all that stuff. And Egypt basically just can't really make progress. The logistics here, they're just not working in their favor. And eventually, after pressure from the UN, because most people see this as a foreign aggression, including China, which is actually supporting Ethiopia in this war, as well as Israel, they eventually decide that it's time to throw in the towel. The result of this is that Sudan gets some of its main claimed territory, but more importantly, Ethiopia has to recognize the ownership of this dam here, of like the dam just existing, and Ethiopia, and no, not Ethiopia, Egypt has to pay financial compensation to them. So, and with the dam controlled, this is going to lead to a lot of problems in Egypt, but that's going to be for the next episode. The last thing we're going to touch on is back in Ukraine. As over here, Russia begins to invade the north here, starting a new offensive here. After a long military buildup, Ukraine knew this was coming, but like I said, they're running out of aid, so Russia actually does start to push across decently well. They make a march towards Kiev, and they even re-break through in the south over here. They push along and almost reach Moldova. Speaking of Moldova, Transnistria, there are soldiers here somehow. And Moldova somehow gets tied into the whole war here. Russian soldiers dash across Ukraine, and Ukraine does do a decent job at defending this region, although there really isn't much of a way for them to defend it. While the Moldovans and Ukrainians do cut off this part of northern Transnistria and start pushing over here in the west. But it's too late because Russia reaches this region. Odessa is cut off and is now put under siege under heavy naval attacks by Russia. Things are getting even worse as Russian forces enter from Belarus. Belarus isn't actually in the war, but they're letting Russian forces through. And this results in a bit of a problem and this does actually cause some effect in Belarus. The war in Belarus is not popular. Belarusians do not want to join this war. And Lukashenko is already very unpopular as it is in Belarus, the Belarusian dictator. So so people are revolting all over the country. But as usual, the Russian army is just going to come and start mopping that up. Here, they mop out this pocket, they mop out this pocket. And Ukraine and this is like more towards Ukraine, so they actually can be a little bit supplied. But Ukraine is obviously more focused on this than some random field up there. Speaking of Russia, move on to Kyiv. Kyiv is now put under siege once again as Russia basically tries what they did at the beginning of the war of just rolling Kyiv fast and taking the city quickly. Russian forces also enter western Ukraine basically unopposed. This region's a bit swampy, but I mean, it's just, yeah, Russia is just completely rolling this place over. And the criticism at the U.S. starts to be increasing as people are realizing that the U.S. is just kind of standing by and watching this happen. Same thing with Israel; they just kind of let it all happen. And by this way, it's around 2025, and it's say like midway through the year, and that's where we're gonna end this video. We have had a couple of wars here. The Israel-Palestine war ended. This war ended, and Russia's near capitulating Ukraine. So actually, it's probably not 2025. It's around like 2026 ish. Yeah. All right. So, and that's the start of this episode. As the world is about to go to hell, as you can tell. Bye.